Good evening, students.
Good evening, sir.
You can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So yesterday we have discussed about the homologous series, right? And then we started isomerism. So what are the examples for hydrocarbon homologous series that we discussed? Today, again, we are going to discuss about the nomenclature of carbon compounds. So nomenclature of carbon compounds. So here, the basis of nomenclature is treat to each structure as derived from the simple skeleton by the appropriate modification. So each systematic name has 2 or 3 following parts. Number 1, which will have root word. Root word. This is nothing but it indicates the nature of the basic carbon skeleton. For example, whether it is alkane, alkene, alkynes. So the root word is alk. So whether how many carbon is there? If the Greek number only root. So the chain contain 1 to 4th carbon atoms are known as specific root word, while the 5th onwards by known as Greek number root. That means in general root words for any chain is alk. Any chain is alk. We can call it as alk. Okay. And then second one is suffix. So what the name should end with? Okay. There are 2 suffix. One will be primary suffix and then secondary suffix. Primary suffix and then secondary suffix. So primary suffix means certain suffix are added to the root word to show the degree of unsaturation. So to show the degree of unsaturation or saturation in carbon chain. These are known as primary suffix. What are secondary suffix? Secondary suffix are added after the primary suffix to indicate the functional group. Functional group present in the carbon chain. Aldehyde, ketone, acid, like that. So if you have the saturation, unsaturation, or some other linkages for branching, if you are having linear chain like this, if you are having branching here, and suppose if you are having double bond, and then finally you have the functional group. So these two are called primary one. The end functional group is called secondary one. For example, I'm writing CH2 double bond CH single bond CH CH3 CH Cl CH2 CH2 CO CH3. Okay, now we have carbon-carbon double bond and one methyl branching and chlorine branching and then ketone. So what are the primary functional group? This will be the primary, this will be the primary, this will be the primary, and this will be secondary. So this is the main functional group, that only we are call it as secondary suffix. Okay. So and then prefix. So this will be suffix and then what is prefix? Third one is here also two types prefix also. So like suffix prefix also two types. One will be primary, another one will be secondary. Primary and another one will be secondary. Okay. So the primary prefix is called cyclo is added before the root word. Cyclo is added before the root word and indicate the cyclic nature of carbon skeleton. So in case of compound acyclic open chain, so no prefix is used. Okay, in other words, we can if the prefix cyclo is not used, it simply indicate the compound is acyclic or open chain. Cyclo irundha cyclic irukku artham illena acyclic. Then secondary, the group which are not considered as a functional group in IUPAC system of nomenclature, but the substituents are called secondary prefix. So substituent. So inga vandu we called saturation and unsaturation, that we call it as primary inga suffix la, but secondary la enna solrom, secondary la enna solrom, the substituent are called secondary prefix. So added in the IUPAC name. So I will write one CH3 COOH. The common name is acetic acid, which is derived from, so which is present in vinegar. Okay. Actually, how many carbon is there? How many carbon is there? How many carbon is there, pa? So if you are writing like this, how many carbon is there?
2, sir.
Two. Two carbon means what is the root word? What is the root word? What is the root word? Two carbon now. One means meter. Two means what is the root word? Sir, ETH. Very good. ETH. So ETH. So ETH is the root word. Here carboxylic acid. So ethanoic acid is the IUPAC name. Okay. In case if you are having CH2 Cl COOH, then what is the name of the compound? One chlorine is substituted. So generally we will call it as this one and this will be 2. Then the IUPAC name will be 2-chloro ethanoic acid. Always acid will be 1. Always acid will be 1. So this is how we have to name the organic compound. In case if you are having the compound like this, CH3, CH, Cl, CH2, COOH. First, how many carbon is there? 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. Total carbon is 4. Then what is the root name? 4 and then bute. இல்லையா? Bute. But அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு prefix இருக்கு, ஒரு substituent இருக்கு. எந்த இடத்துல? Thirdல. என்ன substituent? Chloro. So 3-chloro butanoic acid. Okay. So this is how we have to name the organic compound. And then chemical properties of carbon compounds. Chemical properties of carbon compounds. First one, it's a combustion, which means burning a substance. So it is a highly exothermic. What is exothermic? Heat is liberated out. Highly exothermic. That is a product, a lot of heat. Combustion that is almost is a reaction of oxygen with the compound contain carbon and hydrogen. This is known as combustion. So when you are having methane, if you are burning with oxygen, will give carbon dioxide plus water. So 2 oxygen, 4, then 2 O2. Okay. In case if you are having ethylene, CH2 double bond CH2, when the oxygen is added, it gives carbon dioxide, water plus heat. So this much amount of heat is liberated. Okay. Then if you're balancing 2 carbon is there, then it becomes 2 CO2. So 4, 4, 1, 5 இருக்கு. Then it become இங்க போட்டீங்கன்னா 6 ஆயிடும். அப்போ 3 O2. So how many hydrogen? 2, 4 hydrogen. So it will be balanced. So the combustion of acetylene இருக்கு பாத்தீங்களா? The acetylene combustion, which is very much useful in the welding industry. Weld பண்ணும்போது ஒரு flame ஒன்று வருது இல்லையா? That is acetylene burning. Okay, combustion of acetylene. So the combustion of acetylene only used in the welding industry. So cutting of metal, in which the oxyacetylene flame have the high temperature 3 to 7 degree 7 Kelvin, 3 to 70 Kelvin. Upon how many degrees centigrade? You have to subtract 273. 10 3 போச்சுனா 7, the 6 7 போயிடுதுனா 9, then 11 2 போயிடுதுனா 9. So around 2900 degree 990 or 3000 degrees centigrade approximately will be the temperature of the flame. Are able to imagine? நம்ம வெல்டிங் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியில பாக்குறோம் இல்லையா, ஒரு கண்ணுக்கு ஒரு மாஸ்க் மாதிரி வச்சுட்டு ப்ரொடெக்டர் வச்சுட்டு யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்களே. So that is combustion of acetylene. அடுத்து second property, first property combustion. Second property is oxidation. What is oxidation? So the carbon undergoes oxidation by combining with oxygen at high temperature to form the oxide. For example, carbon will form the oxide like carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. So the carbon monoxide is formed when incomplete combustion of carbon or carbon containing fuels are takes place. So look here, when the carbon treated with oxygen, it will carbon monoxide. Then how many oxygen needed when you are balancing? If the half mole of oxygen is enough, or otherwise 2 moles of carbon, 1 mole of oxygen, it will carbon monoxide. So the carbon containing compound that also undergo oxidation when burnt in air or oxygen in the presence of catalyst or necessary condition is required to give the useful product other than carbon dioxide and water. For example, when the methane, you are adding oxygen in presence of 350 degree to 500 degree centigrade and molybdenum oxide used as a catalyst, we can able to give formaldehyde as a product plus water. So this is one of the property. And third one, addition reaction. So what is addition reaction? We know that when you are when the compound is unsaturated, you can add the you can convert unsaturated into saturated. Please remember first what is saturated, what is unsaturated. When the compound or organic compound undergoes addition reaction, it is unsaturated. Suppose if the compound undergoes substitution reaction, it is saturated. So if you have organic compound, whether it will undergo saturation or unsaturation. So the compound may be saturated or unsaturated. How you can test? If the compound undergo substitution, it is saturation. Substitution, it is saturation. Addition, it is unsaturation. So by this way, we can classify. Otherwise, how you can say, when the carbon which is fully single bond, then it is saturated. If the compound having double bond or triple bond, that become unsaturated. But this terminology is not whole good for all the case, because some of the compound, if you take benzene, it will undergo addition as well as substitution. But generally speaking, benzene will undergo substitution reaction faster rate than the addition reaction. That is why we can say the benzene is a saturated compound. Compare பண்றாங்க, they are comparing the reactivity of benzene in the substitution reaction as well as addition reaction. For the addition reaction, it required a special condition. Pressure வேணும், temperature வேணும். So everything needed. Whereas substitution will undergo in the room temperature itself. So the addition reaction undergoing compounds are called unsaturated. Substitution undergoing compounds are saturated. Though it contain double bond or triple bond, if the compound undergoes substitution faster rate than addition, then the compound is known as saturated. Then the compound is known as saturated. For addition portion, what we can say, it is a unsaturated. Is it clear? Is it clear, ma?
Yes, sir.
So when you have the compound like this, ethylene, the reaction in which two molecules react to form a single product. So now I am going to add AB. Okay. Either ஒரு molecule, either ஒரு molecule. When the two molecule reacted, it will give CH, B, H. So the double bond is cleaved. One side A add ஆயிடுச்சு, another side B add ஆயிடுச்சு. This is known as addition reaction. For example, when the C double bond C or 4R group of R எது வேணாலும் இருக்கலாம். When you are adding hydrogen in presence of nickel catalyst, so the hydrogen is added, we can get the product like this. This is known as addition reaction. This is known as addition reaction. Number 4, substitution reaction. So what is substitution reaction? The reaction in which an atom or group of atoms in a molecule is replaced. So replaced by one another. Replaced by one another, or displace one another. Okay, instead of one. எதிர்க்கோ அதுக்கு பதில் இன்னொன்னு. Okay, that is called substitution. This is called a displacement reaction or replacement reaction. For example, I am having methane, the carbon which is surrounded with 4 hydrogen. When I treat it with chlorine, it gives methyl chloride plus hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen is replaced by Cl. Same way, ethane plus Cl2 in presence of UV light, it gives ethyl chloride plus hydrogen chloride. So this is known as substitution. What happened? Instead of one hydrogen, one chlorine is substituted. So substitution of one by another is known as substitution reaction. These are the general, very general properties of the carbon compounds. Next, we are going to see about some important carbon compounds. So what are the important carbon compounds now? Today we will see about the ethanol, ethanoic acid. Okay, first ethanol. Some ஏதாவது doubt இருக்காப்பா? Any doubt?
No, sir.
So ethyl alcohol. What is the formula for ethyl? What is the formula for ethyl? ஈத்துன்னு சொன்ன எத்தனை கார்பன்? How many carbon?
2 carbons.
So 2 carbon. Then you know what is ethane? C2H6. Please remember, when the alkane is there, if you are removing one nitrogen, then it become alkyl. So alkane becomes CnH2n plus 2. So the alkyl become CnH2n plus 1. Okay. அப்ப ஈத்தேன்ல ஒரு ஹைட்ரஜன் எடுத்துட்டா என்னது? எத்தில். அப்ப மீத்தேன் become ethyl and ethane become ethyl. So ethane means C2H6, correct? So when you are removing one nitrogen, it become ethyl. Alcohol means what is the functional group? OH. So how to expand this formula? CH3, CH2, OH. This is known as ethanol or ethyl alcohol. So the ethanol is the IUPAC name, ethyl alcohol is the common name. So எப்படி இருக்கும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா, the carbon which surrounded by 3 hydrogen, then another carbon which is surrounded by 2 hydrogen, one connected with methyl group, another one connected with oxygen. This will be the ethanol formula. And what are the physical properties? Number 1, it is a versatile solvent. Number 2, it is miscible in all proportion with water and many organic solvents, including acetic acid, acetone, benzene, carbon tetrachloride, chloroform. So, miscible in all proportion with water and many organic solvents. So, including என்னென்ன இருக்குன்னா acetic acid, acetone, benzene, carbon tetrachloride, carbon tetrachloride and chloroform. So when the ethanol miscibility with water is opposite or it contrasts to longer chain alcohol. If the carbon contain 5 or 6, it will not soluble. Okay. So when the solubility of water decreases as the number of carbon get increases. So the polar nature of the ethanol due to presence of hydroxyl group to dissolve many ionic compounds. And then I am taking chemical properties. The chemical properties, the ethanol react with the hydrogen halide to produce ethyl halide. So such ethyl halide is known ethyl halide and ethyl bromide. So first number one, halogenation. Ethanol treated with hydrogen chloride, it will give ethyl chloride plus water. This become ethanol. This is ethyl chloride. Number two, esterification. When the ethanol treated with acid, it will form ester. So இது வந்து carboxylic acid, ethanol, methyl acetate. So it's a methyl carboxylate. Carboxylic acid, yeah. So name will become methyl carboxylate. Example, I'm taking acetic acid. What is the formula for acetic acid? CH3COH and treated with ethanol, it will form ethyl acetate. So the third reaction is dehydration. Dehydration. Hydration means water. So you have to remove the water. When the strong acid like ethanol, strong acid like sulfuric acid, when you are heating 453 Kelvin, it will give ethylene plus water. Number 4, oxidation. So when the chlorination, mute சொல்லிருக்க கூடாதப்பா நான் பாட்டு பேசிட்டே இருக்கேன் உங்களுக்கு கேட்கவே இல்லை. Oxidation. When the ethanol is oxidized in the presence of basic medium or acidic medium, so you can use instead of this KMNO4 you can use potassium dichromate also or chromic acid. Chromic acid. How to prepare chromic acid? No, chromic oxide when you are dissolved in water it becomes chromic acid. So this here whether the person is taken alcohol or not, that we can find out by using this acidified potassium dichromate gas. When the alcohol is blown to, that means it will give the green color vapors. So when it green color vapors, because the potassium dichromate become orange in color. Okay, so the chromium oxidation state is different. For example, in chromic acid and potassium dichromate, the chromium oxidation state is 6. When the person alcohol taken, no, if he given that gas from his mouth, it will become chromium converted to chromium 3. The vapor become green in color. So from that they can find out if they use panida vandute the policemen find out whether the person is taken alcohol or not. Are able to understand what I'm saying? Are able to understand? Hari, could you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Good. So the ethanol, look here, the CH2OH is converted into CHO. So this is alcohol functional group, this is aldehyde functional group. Then CHOS added into COH. In the oxidation, each step oxygen is added or removal of hydrogen. The step 1 from total to 3 to 5, 6. So 3, 4, so 2 hydrogen removed. The next step again 1 oxygen is added. So removal of hydrogen or addition of oxygen is known as oxidation. First case removal of hydrogen takes place, that's why oxidation. Second case hydrogen is removed, then it is called oxidation. Next, chlorination. When the ethanol treated with chlorine, okay, so it get oxidized into chloral. So this will be used in the preparation of DDT. Insecticides is there, no? That insecticide DDT prepared by using the chloral plus 5HCl. So what will happen? So the 5 carbon which is replaced from the hydrogen. And then actually what will happen? CH3, CH2OH. When you are using chlorine, it will oxidize into CH3CHO. Again, if you are doing chlorination, it will give CCl3 and CHO. So this is what happened in this reaction. Okay, and the final reaction is combustion. What is combustion? Combustion is nothing but ethanol. Ethanol is burnt in presence of oxygen. So C2H5OH plus 3O2, it gives 2CO2 plus 3H2O. This is known as combustion. Okay. So I will write all the reaction together to make it easy. So we are taken, what is that? CH3, CH2OH. When you are using hydrogen chloride, so the halogenation is taking place. It will give CH3, CH2, Cl plus H2O, first case. And the second case, when you are treated with acid in presence of acid medium, acid catalyst, it will give or COO C2H5 or CH2 CH3. This will be ester plus water. Ester, ethyl chloride. And third one, dehydration. So in the acid medium, if you are 453 Kelvin per heating, it will take place dehydration. The dehydration takes place, it will give CH2 double bond CH2 plus H2O. And then next reaction, the oxidation. When you are using alkaline K1O4 or potassium dichromate in acid medium, it converted into acetaldehyde. When the acetaldehyde further oxidation, it gives acetic acid. You can directly write acetic acid also. The case-based question, they will use this equation. That's why I'm repeating. Okay. And next step, chlorination. So here also we are doing halogenation, but unlike that halogenation, if you are exposing chlorine gas, the ethanol is oxidized into acetaldehyde, and then the carbon chlorinated to form compound chloral. So when you are using chlorine, so 4 moles of chlorine if you are using, chlorination is taking place. So what is the purpose of this chlorine? What it do that it will oxidize the ethanol to acetaldehyde and then chloral plus ferrous. At the combustion, when you are heated with it will give 2CO2 plus 3H. So this will be the overall reaction of your alcohol, ethanol. So actually in the industry, what method they are preparing ethanol, that we have to know, no? So actually in the industry, these are the chemical properties. Now we are going for the preparation of ethanol. Or manufacture of ethanol. So in the industrial case, so in the ethanol is made by the fermentation of sugar. What is fermentation? What is fermentation for? Under enzymatic condition, if the ripened fruits, everything they kept in the anaerobic condition, okay, without air, so the enzymes will be convert that product into glucose and fructose. That glucose fructose in presence of zymase, it converted to ethanol. So first, so fermentation is a process where by an organic compound is broken into smaller molecule by enzyme such as yeast. Okay. So the fermentation is initiated by yeast, which segregate two enzymes called invertase and zymase. So the enzyme acts as a catalyst. What is the catalyst? the catalyst or substance which will not undergo any chemical reaction, but it can convert the reaction into product by by the simplest way. Suppose some of the reaction takes place with our means. If you are using catalyst, it will take place within a minute or within a few minutes. Okay. So if the reaction takes place 3 hours, 4 hours, it will minimize. So that is the role of catalyst. After the reaction, the catalyst you have to recover it. Whatever catalyst we are using, no, in any reaction, you need to recycle it. Are able to understand what I'm saying? Catalyst means which will not take part into reactions, but it will be regenerated after the reaction gets over. So here, the enzyme act as a catalyst. The enzyme what we are using here, yeast. That yeast gives two enzymes. One is invertase, another one is zymase. Okay. So the reaction is all these exothermic and carbon dioxide released in that process. For example, they have the sucrose. The formula for sucrose C12H22O11. When you are hydrolyzing sucrose in presence of yeast, so yeast will give the invertase. Invertase is a enzyme which will hydrolyze sucrose into C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. Both are have same molecular formula, but they are different. One is glucose, another one is fructose. So when this glucose or fructose, whatever it may be, if it is hydrolyzed in presence of zymase, it will give ethanol plus carbon dioxide. So when the sucrose is hydrolyzed in presence of invertase, it gives glucose and fructose, which in turn is hydrolyzed by the zymase. It gives ethanol and carbon dioxide. So this is known as preparation of ethanol in the industry. So again, I'm telling, by using the fermentation, fermentation. So here what will happen? Organic compound, it's broken into smaller molecule by enzyme, is known as fermentation. Actually, here enzyme what you are using, yeast. So here the fermentation is initiated by yeast, which segregate two enzymes, that is nothing but invertase and zymase. Okay. So these enzymes act as a catalyst for converting sugar into ethanol. Okay. So this reaction will become exothermic and carbon dioxide is released in the process. So this is the way by which industrially we can prepare the ethanol. And then ethanol preparation by second method, hydration of ethene. So ethene is nothing but ethylene. When the ethylene C2H4 and add a water molecule will make ethylene into ethanol. So ethanol is obtained by the cracking of petroleum along with the water, is pressurized to 6 atmosphere and passed over the 300-degree heat and phosphoric acid. The ethanol is directly produced in this reaction. So phosphoric acid is a catalyst. So ethylene CH2 double bond CH2, when I am adding water in presence of phosphoric acid and 300 degrees centigrade, 60 atmosphere pressure is added, it will give ethanol CH3, CH2, OH, ethyl alcohol. Now, at last, we are going for the uses. So, whatever organic compound we are studying, how to prepare, what is the physical property, what is the chemical property, and what is the application. So, ethanol is used for manufacturing of paints, dyes, and varnish. And then
Sir,
ethanol is
ethanol
used.
harmful.
என்னப்பா
Ethanol
எத்தனால்
harmful ஆன்னு கேட்கிறேன்.
இல்ல தம்பி, அதாவது எவ்வளவு யூஸ் பண்றோன்றத பொறுத்து. இப்போ
லாஸ்ட் கிளாஸ்ல நீங்க சொன்னீங்க இந்த டைலாம் யூஸ் பண்ணா உங்க கண்ணெல்லாம் ஒரு மாதிரி ஆயிடும்.
நம்ம என்ன பண்றோம்னா we are isolating dyes from the reaction. Okay, so you want to purify the dye. For the purification they are using ethanol. Okay, and some of the reaction it acts as a solvent to isolate dyes. Okay, to undergo chemical reaction we are using ethanol as a solvent. That's why ethanol is used for the manufacture of paint, dyes, and varnish. Are you able to understand what I'm saying?
Sir, yes, sir.
Next, so ethanol is used in medicine. So especially disinfecting area on the skin before giving the injection. So எத்தனால தான் வந்து நம்ம ஸ்கின் மேல இது பண்ணுவாங்க. ஓகேவா? So என்னவா யூஸ் ஆகுதுன்னா disinfecting the area on the skin before giving an injection, and also used in the sterilization of syringes in hospital. Okay, and then it is used to prepare preparation of compound chloroform and ether. And then ethanol is used for making thermometer used for the measuring lower temperature. Before it the mercury was used. இப்போ நம்ம pressure meterல இருக்கு இல்லையா mercury, அது மாதிரி தான் thermometerலயும் mercury இருந்துட்டு இருந்தது. ஸோ என்ன ஆகுதுன்னா ஸ்பில்லிங் ஆஃப் மெர்க்குரி வந்து மெர்க்குரி பாய்சனிங் ஆகுது. அதை அவாய்ட் பண்றதுக்காக nowadays இந்த தெர்மோமீட்டர் ரெட் கலர்ல ஒரு சொல்யூஷன் இருக்கு. that is nothing but ethanol with a coloring agent. Okay, so ethanol used in thermometer with the low temperature. Please remember, when you are going high temperature, the pressure will create the thermometer will break. Okay, thermometer for low temperature, and then it will be ethanol will be used in the spirit lamps. If you are use பண்றதுல before it was used, and then ethanol is used as a organic solvent. So these are the uses of your ethanol. Okay, doubts இருக்கா ஏதாவது? Any doubt is there, you may ask. Next class we will see about the acetic acid and then soaps and detergent. That's all about this unit. So what are the things we learned from this unit? So carbon forms covalent bond. Covalent bond means sharing of electron between the bonding atoms. Number two, covalency. Covalency means number of electron contributed by an atom for sharing is known as covalency. And the allotrope of carbon we have used. So that allotrope of carbon, one will be diamond, another one will be coal or otherwise graphite. Okay. So the property due to which an element exists in two or more forms is known as allotropy. Okay. So the various forms are called allotrope. Carbon exists to allotropic. The crystalline form is known as diamond. The amorphous form, coal, is known as graphite. So what is the unique nature of carbon? Why it forming this much big chemistry means the property of element to form long chain or ring by self-linking of their own atom through the covalent bond is called as catenation. Okay. So the catenation is the unique properties of the carbon. None other element in the periodic table shows the catenation for this much. So you can form 150 carbon also link. But nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, you can extend up to 15 numbers. But it goes more than 15 numbers. Unsaturated, unsaturated. So in saturated compound, the valency of carbon atoms are satisfied by the single bond. While in unsaturated compounds, the valency of carbon is satisfied by double or triple bond. This will be the simplest way by we can predict whether it is saturated or unsaturated. But this is not the real one. We additionally we can say if the compound undergoing substitution it is a saturated. If the compound undergoing addition, it is unsaturated. That also we can see. And then we said state chain compound. State chain compound means the compound which contains state chain, carbon atom. Branched means, so it has like a branch. So the சங்கிலி மாதிரி இருந்ததுன்னா chain. அந்த சங்கிலி உடைச்சு இன்னொரு இப்போ if it goes compound like this, it is chain. So same chainல நான் ஒரு branching open பண்ணேன்னா இது branching. Okay. The compound which are branched is known as branch. For example, butane எடுத்துக்கிறோம். CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3. This is called N-butane. It like chain. So same butane, I am writing like this also, 2-methyl propane or isobutane. This is branching. Okay. Closed chain or ring compound. The cyclic compounds are called closed chain or ring compound. And then hydrocarbons we saw. The hydrocarbon is just made up of carbon and hydrogens are called hydrocarbon. It was classified open and cyclic. In the open chain, you have alkane, alkene, alkyne. Alkane have the general formula CnH2n plus 2. Alkene have the general formula CnH2n. Alkyne have the general formula CnH2n minus 2. The alkane name end with A and E, which will start with n to n equal to 1. And also it have C single bond C. Alkene, the name should end with the E and G, but it have carbon-carbon double bond. It started n is equal to 2. Alkyne, the name end with Y and E, ine. So it has carbon-carbon triple bond, the n value from 2. This is what we learned. And then we learned many functional groups. Okay, alcohol, OH, aldehyde, CHO, carbon-carbon double bond, alkene, carbon-carbon triple bond, alkyne. So many things we learned. So next class, what is the functional group? What is the prefix, suffix? And then the other stories we will learn in the next class. Okay. Okay, ma. So any doubt is there means you can sorry. Doubt இருந்தா கேட்கலாம், இல்லைன்னா you can leave. Okay, we can wind up the class.